What's happening? What's happening? Shout out to all those beginner investors and traders, entrepreneurs, college graduates, hustlers, anybody trying to make something out of nothing. Listen, I wanted to see how you, ladies and gentlemen, and you beginner investors and traders feel. Even you advanced traders, how do you feel about GameStop and AMC? You know, right now I'm bullish on GameStop. I'm not as much on AMC based on all the BS that's been surrounding it, all the things that I've found out and uncovered, some of the things that they've done in the past that could possibly tank this stock, things that they're not talking about, which is another reason why I'm getting sick and tired of these fake ass content creators that just keep popping up when these stocks are moving, have momentum, have volume, and it looks as if these stocks are going to move, which gives me the notion to believe that a lot of these content creators are getting paid to pump these stocks. You take content creators like Matt Kors, Trades, The Mass Investor, Lou on Wall Street, and a bunch of new ones that are popping up. If you check out their content, a lot of them are saying the same things. And it seemed like to make their front stronger, they started agreeing with each other, a lot of them. And if you can't notice, if you hear any noise, I'm at the park. I like to take a walk after I check out, the stock market and run my errands and do the things that I need to do in the day. So I wanted to come talk to y'all and see how y'all felt. But like I was saying, you got these guys that are all like everything that they say is in sync. And in my opinion, between the failure to deliver, between the synthetics, between the shares being rerouted through the dark pools and everything else, you would believe that something would take place with these companies based on all the criminal activity. But when you look at all the things that's been said, it seems like to me that's what needs to be done, because these people have been caught. The rug has been pulled out from under them. And not only that, it seems like that they've, they've sent out a team of shills, bots, and cats like Matt Kors and Trades and them to constantly keep you fooled. Because that one of the reasons why I ended up getting out, right, is because once I really started paying attention to the market, it was always a pattern as far as stocks going up and down. And, I started to ignore that and started to look more into fundamentals. And that was one of the things that got me killed with AMC. I didn't lose money, but I could have made a lot more than I did. Because once I happened to see that Adam Aaron was selling shares to Munger Capital, and his sons were selling shares, and, people in his company were selling shares, I automatically knew in some way, shape, or form that the stock price was going to go down. But based on all the corruption and criminal activity and everything that was said about the stock market and the 2008 market crash, and how, people lost their retirements and, homes and all that, I wanted to stand firm with all retail so that we could bring an end to all this BS. But one thing that I realize is that psychology is one of the most powerful weapons in, the stock market. And I know that when it comes to war, I know that when it comes to the art of war, but I didn't understand it fully in the stock market. And with AMC and GameStop having this cult-like following, it would be so easy to keep on manipulating this stock price and get their 10 or 20% every other day. As you can see, they do slick shit like before the market opens. Like in pre-market, GameStop was $28 and it was higher, last week. But this is what they constantly keep doing. Like in pre-market, it was like $128. And then no more than 5 minutes after the market opened, it dropped down to about 122, and then sometime after that, the low was like 117. Okay. And psychologically, if you see that GameStop is moving 2, 3, 4% pre-market, it would automatically give you the perception that it's going to move maybe another percent, 2%, 3%, because it normally runs 10, 20, 30% when it does get out of hand. You know what I mean? But you think about all that MOASS shit that they talking about, and you think about all the micro jumps that it's made in the last year and a half, that will be the equivalent of the MOASS that these people keep talking about. That's if you happen to look at the charts, in my opinion. Because you gotta remember, I'm not a like investing guru. You know, I'm not a financial advisor or none of that. But you know, like today, when the market closed, GameStop jumped up to $133. It jumped up $12. Now, we didn't see, it couldn't make it over 122, you know, all day once it came down. But after the market closed, it jumped up $12 from 120, you know, 121. I mean, it probably was 13 because it was probably around 119. And then it jumped up, you know what I'm saying, to 133. And this is after the market closed, when retail is not, we're not capable of trading, at least most of us, depending on which brokerage firm that you know, are a part of. So, you know, that right there is a clear indication that, in my opinion, that is just a psychological trip. And they're talking about the NFTs, the GameStop wallet. You know, they're talking about GameStop is transitioning to a tech company, which I completely understand, which makes 100 million, you know, like it makes all the sense in the world, you know what I mean, in my opinion, for GameStop to make that move. And I'm still bullish on GameStop. But with GameStop being probably the most unique stock in the stock market, because you don't see anything else move like GameStop except the NASDAQ. You know what I'm saying? Like you see the S&P 500 move like that, $20, $10, $30. GameStop moves however it wants, whenever it wants, which is clearly, you know, in my opinion, showing that it's manipulation. And all these people are in bed with each other, Ryan Cohen, because when you look at institutional buying, this is one of the reasons why I stopped doing videos, because I was just talking about the fundamentals and me liking the stock and my future understanding of where the stock could go based on the digital world that we're in. And that's the reason why. But once I started looking at the technicals and understanding that the market is based on buyers and sellers, you know, and profitability, I started seeing that I was getting played when these people were talking about hold the stock for 2-5 years. The stock might have given you an opportunity within that time to flip it at least 5 or 10 times based on the fluctuations of the stock market and these institutions, which are, you know, causing the stock market to move based on the millions and trillions of dollars that they put in and out of the market, that they have fluctuating in and out of the market. So once I realized that, and they have to make their investors money, it doesn't make any sense to me to sit around and hold shares of stock. Like, I could have made so much more on GameStop if I would have sold at $580 a share, every share that I had, because maybe, you know, a couple months after that, month and a half after that, GameStop went back down to $33. So I could have bought 5 or 10 times as many shares as I had before. And then it ran back up to like 4 something. And it did it at least 10 times and up until now. You know what I'm saying? And then you wouldn't have had to worry about these big decreases in your portfolio because you was probably buying in at 5 or 10 or 20. You know what I mean? So if you're somebody that's like me, you know, you've seen big hits in your portfolio, because if GameStop went down 70, 80% and, you know, you were up and it was $300 a share, you might have been up almost 1,000% in your portfolio, so it's understandable. But at the same time, with Ryan Cohen and Ray Dalio and all these institutional investors, that are putting money in and out of the market, they're making you believe as retail that you're the ones making the price move, and you're not. So this is the reason why a lot of people are getting out late and they getting burned, because we'll get information maybe weeks or months after it happens. And then once it does happen, people will, once they do hear it, people will start making that move when they hear it. But by that time, the stock is already moving. And once it goes up 20, 30%, you're thinking of the MOASS, while they're already making money that 10, 20%, and they're jumping out because they already have a target. And then they've just been constantly doing it. We've made these people trillions and trillions and trillions, where they got you sitting around thinking and waiting for something to happen that they could have paid for a long time ago. You know what I mean? And then based on all the failure to deliver and the years that they have to pay it, it's not a guarantee that anybody's going to jail. They're the market makers. They run the news. They run politicians. It's like, and then they use the psychology. A lot of people starting to call them the devil and evil and this and that, because it keeps you engaged, believing you're fighting something that, in my opinion, is unbeatable, because these are the people that control the thing that you are in. You know what I mean? Like, so I just want to see how people feel about that, man, because I think we getting played. The stock split, I think, is garbage, you know, based on when, say if you bought around $4, if that stock, if they give you 5-to-1 and they mark them shares at $12 a share, you're going to lose a huge profit. And so what if it jumps back up to $80, $90 a share? You'll still lose out on thousands and thousands of dollars. You see what I'm saying? So this is, in my opinion, just the opportunity to give institutions like them hedge funds a way to buy back those shares and not have to, get penalized for all the failure to delivers and the synthetics and all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't believe this is going to work out. I think that I'm going to sell at least 70, 80% of my position in GameStop if they decide to do this stock split, because I don't care about the dividend. I don't care about, issuing me 5-to-1, because that 5-to-1 can be bad for my portfolio. So I just want to see how y'all feel, man, because I think these people are really finding different ways, which is the same thing, as far as these different content creators, to try to keep you engaged. But the truth of the matter is that people getting played to a high level, man. I'm trying to tell you. And I don't think you should have anything to do with any content creator that's constantly popping back up only when the stock is looking marketable, profitable in some way, shape, or form. You take guys like Matt Kors and Trades and Lou on Wall Street, and I'm not trying to, personally come at these guys, but I honestly do believe that they are full of shit. I believe that they getting paid. I mean, Trades and Matt Kors, they was the main two in the beginning, pumping up that 100K stock price. And both of their pages got deleted, their first ones. And in my opinion, that happened because it would incriminate them saying that the floor was 100K for AMC. You know what I mean? So I just believe it's a lot of BS going on. Both of them made $1 million in call options. You know what I'm saying? Like, forgive me. Both of them made $1 million in call options. How is that? How did both of them make $1 million? You know what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, Trades before AMC popped, he said it, that he was only trading for 1 or 2 years and he was a beginner. How in the hell, if you a beginner, you know all this information and you're that educated, which I'm not saying he couldn't have buried himself in the books. I'm saying for somebody that's in the military, for somebody that has a job, somebody that is as busy as he says he is, and with all the ailments that he claimed that he had, it just didn't make no sense to me that he accumulated all that knowledge and information to end up talking to Charles Payne. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't understand that, and then all of a sudden, Trades and Matt Coors and all these guys, they started ending up being like the number one guys to talk to about AMC. And it was just funny to me because I'm like, these dudes, they only seem interested because of retail holding the stock price up. And then it started looking like they were using retail to keep the price in a certain area where it can constantly be traded. And that's what I figured out. And then once the share prices dropped 60, 70%, those dudes once it's dropped 20%, they started talking about different stocks and saying they were going to talk about different stocks and all that other shit. You know what I mean? And then once AMC and GameStop really took those 70% drops, they just disappeared. You know what I mean? And now you see them coming back because the massive volume that's moving in based on the Ray Dalio move and some institutions jumping in. And we did just get some information saying that, Adam Aaron saying that he is the largest majority shareholder of AMC, but that shit don't mean nothing to me because he seemed like a weasel. They sold shares to Munger Capital. Munger Capital sold a bunch of shares that fucked us. His sons were selling shares of AMC. People in his company were selling shares of AMC. Other institutions were selling shares of AMC. And it's like, how can you not tell me that this is just a scheme to constantly take money from retail? I mean, how many dips can people buy, without the stock price going up because there's no more shares to fucking buy? So they can just constantly keep making shares and the stock price doesn't move anywhere unless they want it to move when they want to make money. That's what's going on. And then you have these fake ass content creators, the ones that I'm talking about, telling you to stay in and do this and do that. I'm selling at least 80% of both of my positions, and if they happen to move, cool. I still got enough shares to make a couple million if that's the case. But at this moment in time, I'll focus on GameStop. AMC, it still has the potential as far as being in the entertainment realm. You got digital, you got all this stuff coming out, 4D, virtual reality. I mean, you got Neuralinks, it's so many different things coming out, that it's so like it's no reason that AMC couldn't survive. They've did some, they've made some partnerships, you know what I mean? Like to show movies there. I mean, pay-per-views and stuff like that, which makes a lot of sense, man. But if they gonna just keep stealing money from retail and then they not gonna talk about all the dirty shit that they did a couple years ago and the reasons that can bring AMC down, and if these retail investors aren't gonna do nothing but keep on telling you about fundamentals that have nothing to do with the stock price moving. Like I'm learning, that's why I took a step back, because I started to learn that, buyers and sellers move the stock market. And when you have buyers in AMC that aren't selling, how the hell is the stock price moving? You see what I'm saying? GameStop jumped $13 when the stock market closed, but it was struggling to get over 122. It was struggling, and it doesn't bother you. How is it that these stocks are able to move like that in the pre-market and the aftermarket, but they don't move like that during the day unless you least expect it? It just doesn't make any sense. So I think we're about to get played, except with the GameStop play. AMC, I'm starting to really believe it's trash. You know what I mean? So let me know what y'all think, man, and drop a comment. I know I've been talking, but I just had to get it all out because there's some fake ass content creators. It's a bunch of them popping back up and new ones, and they ain't saying nothing but the same stuff that we heard last year. They just saying the same shit. I guarantee you when these stocks, if they do move, you gonna hear all that. But let them drop. Man, you ain't gonna see these cats no more. I was checking out somebody for SoFi, the company SoFi. And once I made some money when SoFi went up to $23 because I was swing trading it. But it started dropping, so I stopped playing with it. But I still was interested in the company. And I happened to see once it dropped down to like $14, it was a content creator that I thought was kind of interesting, when he talked about SoFi. Man, that stock dropped down about $14. I haven't seen his ass since. You know what I'm saying? It's just like these people, they pump and dump stocks because they are in them. And they trying to make money off your back, telling you to hold these stocks for 5 years and, buy the dips and all that. That's so that they can constantly trade them shits. Tell me what y'all think about this, man. I'm out of here. It's been 20 minutes.